Hello, everyone. I'm joined by Bajram and SirKill to explain more of the drafting process and how the team tour is going to work. So, SirKill, may you introduce yourself first?
Hello, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. I'm SirKill. I'm the guy who's running the tour, basically. Yes.
He's our lead commissioner for this. And I'm Byram, or AKA Gibble. Um, Everyone knows me already. So. But yeah, I think the goal today is we kind of wanted to give everyone a good explanation of what to expect for the team tour in the sense of how the step-by-step process of everything is. This should make players, captains, and everyone a little bit more comfortable and just ready to execute once things get started. And I think the first thing we're going to get started on is next Saturday's auction, which is going to start at noon EST. And SirKill, you want to just give people just a basic explanation of what the auction is like and what everyone should expect?
Yeah, so basically, the auction time is when people are assigned to our team. Or the captains will choose the players who they want in their team, right? So it's basically like everyone, people will bid on the captains will bid on the players who have joined, right? And it's very fun. It's a very chaotic environment. The first few rounds, especially, are really really explosive. You see people going for like mad prices. Then it like slows down a bit, and then in the end, it's like pretty quick fire. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
think.
so in
Oh, go ahead.
oh, go on. Yes, I'm done. I'm done. Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, just for anyone who doesn't understand what the process is like, essentially anyone who did sign up for the team tour that didn't get banned or is eligible, the way it works is one captain duo will put a person up for the auction. The minimum price for any player is $5,000. You could put them up for any amount you want, up to technically 70K or 80K in one team's case. And that would be the starting price. Every team that wants to upbid, they have to go up by at least $500 or more. And what happens is once no one continues the upbid, we have a 10-second timer that goes off. If 10 seconds pass and nobody picks up the player, that player is assigned to the team who put up the most amount of money for them. And then that money comes out of that team's budget of 100 to 110K, depending on each team's situation.
Also, it's a pretty fun environment. There's like a lot of like reacts going. People are like, "Oh my god, he went for this much." Oh no, oh my god, he went for that much. So it's a pretty fun environment. I
Overpay,
really
I love the overpaid. That was a waste, or the what a
I
steal, dude.
yeah, I really hope people get a lot more involved in the auction, especially with like the emotes. I think what makes the auction really fun is like just spamming the emotes and the banter between the captains. I think that like once everyone is in on it, it's like one of the most funnest parts of the tour, basically.
Yeah, I think, and we're hoping to see a lot of reactions from everyone because I think everyone in this community is we all relatively know each other, and I think everyone should get excited when someone does get signed and any sense of it. Just show love and talk a lot in the chat. Obviously the general channels will be up, and I believe we're probably gonna have some type of live stream going on while that happens. So we'd love to see a lot of reactions with emotes, with conversations while the tour is going on, what teams are looking to get, and so on and so forth. Um, but yeah, essentially the way this works out, though, after every team spends their money to get 7 to 9 players, and either doesn't have the budget to get another player or just doesn't have the player capacity because they maxed out, that's when the auction essentially finishes. And then we move on to the next portion of the tour, which is our draft process. And SirKill could kind of explain that quickly.
Yeah, so basically, after the auction is done, there will be the drafting process. So what's gonna happen is this time, rather than 7 formats, we are running 5 formats, which are PAL decks, NAT decks, Rad Red, Lil Cup, and Fusions. And we are still going to have 7 games. But here's the kicker. Basically, what's going to happen is every week, just before and I'll talk more about this later. Basically, each team will choose an extra format to play. Basically, right? So essentially, what's going to happen is you can have 2 of the 5 formats will have like 2 games, where the rest will have 1 game. So it's gonna even out to like a nice 7 games. And so to more so account for the 7 games, what we're doing is we're saying, okay, let's give teams a little bit more leeway and allow them 3 drafts per format this time. Because what could happen is, let's say if you have 2 teams and you double into a format, then horrible match. It's like, and if your matchup is really bad, all of a sudden you're like 2 down, right? And it gives teams a lot more breathing room to even experiment with some builds, like have like 1 main build and then 1 like matchup fishy build. So there's gonna be 15 drafts going all at once, and it's gonna be a week. So the first day is gonna be. Are we? Oh gosh, I'm mixing up DCL rules and all that. So the first day is gonna be untimered, correct? Like 24 hours, like no timer, nothing. Or
Yeah,
how are
we're
we
gonna have
doing this?
6-hour timer running 24 hours a day. It doesn't stop. It's
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
yeah,
So no,
6 hours.
what I'm saying is the first round or the first. Are we gonna make the first round untimered, or is it like the first day itself just untimered?
It's gonna be the first day. The first round is gonna be way too much with some of these teams.
Yeah, yeah. And then we just chose the fact that let's keep the timer running at all times, because at the end of the day there are, instead of 1 player, there's like like 9 players on the team, right? So they can coordinate between themselves, and they can put the picks accordingly, right? And best way to go about doing this is just split the work, right? If let your Rad Red player do the Rad Red drafting, let your LC player do the LC drafting, right? And the captains can try to get more involved in all the drafting, rather
Yeah,
than have all the 9 players okay on a pick, right? Let's say there's like a Paldex pick and you're like, oh yeah, we need to get all these 9 players online before we put the pick. So don't do that.
yeah.
It's
I
gonna
think
stall it
people's
a lot.
managing situation is going to be very crucial and key in all of this. Again, the other purpose for the 3 drafts, I know a lot of times, especially in the team tour environment, teams can get stuck with 1 bad draft in a format. And this way, look, if you have 2 of your 3 drafts are terrible, it's at that point it's on the team. The goal should give people flexibility if they have to double into a format to be able to play it out and everything. But the 3 drafts, yeah, and every format, Natdex and Paldex, just to quickly go over it, those formats are going to be 8 mounts for 90 points, and you can get up to 3 Terra Captains that equal 28 points. And obviously, the appropriate Terra tax that will come out of that mount's price will come out of the budget, essentially. So if you drafted Ogrepon, which is like 12 or something, but you want it to be a Terra Captain, it'll become like 18 or 19, wherever it is, and that comes out of your 90-point total. Red, on the other hand, is 8 mounts for 90 points. There's no Terra, nothing in Red. None of the for all of the formats, Z moves are banned. Gmax Dynamaxing is banned. Only Natdex and Paldex we're allowing Terra. So we get to the other formats. Little Cups, 8 mons for 75 points. That's pretty straightforward for most of the Little Cup players. And then Infinite Fusions is 8 fused pairings for 1,500 points. Once the draft concludes, you determine which mon in the head or body is in the appropriate spots. Nowadays, people have gotten more accustomed to actually just putting the draft pick with the correct head and body spots, since there's usually a more preferred set way to do it, but we'll give people until after the draft just to confirm everything, since you are putting 2 mons at a time every single round, and the wheel picks put 4 mons at a time. So but yeah, that's essentially the draft process. If there's nothing else, we can move on to the week by week, which we kind of dabbled into a little bit. Any
Yeah.
comments?
I think he's good.
No, no, we're good. We're good. Anything? Any comments from you, Frank? Or
No, I think you guys explained both the auction and draft pretty well.
So yeah, we'll get into the week by week then. So like SirKill mentioned before, each team's going to essentially submit a second format for the week. So we're gonna play every format or every game. We're gonna flip a coin. One team is gonna have to submit a format first. Once they submit, the other team's gonna have to pick a different format that they want to submit an extra game in. So let's say I'm going up against SirKill's team, and we're both captains for our team. I win the toss and I have to pick first. If I pick Rad Red as a second game and SirKill picks Little Cup, for example, we're going to play 2 games of Rad Red that week, 2 games of Little Cup. Those are to be submitted by Saturday at midnight EST. So Saturday going into Sunday. This way, for Monday night when the lineups are due, every team will have essentially that one day where no games are being played to kind of go over the matchups and who they want to put into each format. So I think that should I think that one day extra generally has been a positive thing and what most captains and teams have really enjoyed over the last couple seasons of the tour.
oh, it's so good, yeah.
Yeah, I wish more people would do it, honestly. Especially because all the games get played on Sunday.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Oh, go on. Yeah, I think we've pretty much covered everything on this part as well.
Yeah, I think the only other thing is just for people who don't know, and especially because even though we've run this tour for 3 seasons now, there are still a lot of new players to the tour format, and there's a lot of veterans who haven't even played in a team tour before either. So essentially, the way it works week to week, when after both teams find out the 7 formats that are being played for the week, so the 5 plus the 2 extra, by Monday at midnight when they submit the lineups, the way it works is you insert the player with the team on it. So say the team is, say my 7 players are player 1, numbers 1 through 7 are their names. I'll submit it as Paldex, matchup 1, number 1 is playing, and they're going to use team 3. And if I have a second Paldex matchup, I'll insert player number 2 is going to use team 1. A different team. I can't repeat any teams if I'm doubled up in a format. And then you pick the player with the team number that they are using in each format and game. After Monday, after everyone submits on Monday, by Monday midnight into Tuesday morning, all of the matchups will be posted for everyone to see. And lineups are due by midnight EST. If they are not submitted, to be quite frankly, you're going to use the same team as last week. And if it's for week 1 and you don't submit it, we're going to just randomize every single team that's picked. So we definitely prefer for everyone to be on top of it. Captains especially be on top of submitting, getting the lineups, knowing which teams what format you want to play as the extra one by Saturday, and submitting everything on time by Monday night. That Monday extra day where no games are played is very crucial and helpful for our teams.
Definitely the teams, everyone on the team should discuss with, right? Like, okay, what extra format do you want to play, right? So it's a lot of you can think of it like 2 ways. One way is like, let's say for example my team has like 2 really strong little cup players. I don't know, like we have Peachy and like Fox, right? I'll give an example. So I mean, we're like, okay, our strength is Lil Cup, we'll just double Lil Cup, right?
Yep.
And like double Little Cup every week, try to exploit the fact that we have really good Little Cup players, right? Another way you can look at it is you can look at it format wise, right? You can say like, oh, you just look at the games, you're like, oh, our 2 of our Paldex drafts are really, really good into like all their drafts, right? Like they don't deal with these 2 drafts. So you can double up that way as well. So yeah, I'll let the teams figure out how they want to double up and how they want to put their players. And yeah, so one thing I just want to quickly like add on is, so when Bajram said like, let's say for the 2 games, right? Because people will be like, oh, like how are the matchups decided for the formats that have the 2 games, right? Let's say for example, I'll give the LC example, right? Let's say my LC players are Peachy and Fox, right? I can be like, okay, I'll put them in slots, right? So I'll say, let's say Peachy is my first person, and he's putting team 3, right? Fox is my second person, and they're playing team 1, right? And let's say Bajram, they're 2 Little Cup players. Let's say their first Little Cup is Adam, right? For example, they put say Adam as slot 1 with 1, and their slot 2 as 2, right? So it's gonna be Peachy versus Adam. So it's gonna be 3v1, and then the other player Fox, who's using team 1, they're playing the opponent's team 2. So it's a pretty neat way for captains to try and randomly match up fish if they possibly can. Maybe oh yeah, this guy, he might put this player as the second slot, right? So let me try to squeeze that team into the slot, right? So yeah, that's where a few of the fun semi mind games come in. So yeah,
there's a ton. There's other ones obviously that you can get into the fact of, oh, they may have one good, let's say red player, but they have nobody else who knows the format on that team. You could double up onto people just taking advantage of that, for example. And that's why it's kind of crucial for teams during the auction to get versatile players and, make sure you have people who could play every format and have a decent backup out of format. I think having a player who could, especially a player who could fit into, the 2 fan game formats, or everyone plays PAL in that deck, sure, but someone who could play Little Cup plus 2 other formats, I think that'll be crucial whenever you get into those situations where, oh, someone doubled up our weakest format. Do we have people who could fill those slots as the backup role and give us a legit chance to win? But it'll be on each team to figure out their competitive edge.
Oh, and to add on a little bit, if you are a player that's only doing national or PAL Dex formats, it is very crucial for you to lock in potentially and just see how the other formats work, because there could be a week where, like you mentioned, there's only one red player, and someone that might not have experience with it might have to jump in and you have to just be ready to learn as the season progresses that those formats or how those teams play.
Yeah, I think a great example of that was Weedy last tour. I don't think he really played Insurgents all that much, if at all. And towards the end of the season, he became their main Insurgents player for the championship winning team, because there was a team that just fit really well with his style. And it was just with Metagross Delta Spider, with Golden Go, and all these, disgusting mons. And it was just oh, this works out for a player that really talented player, could play multiple formats, but found a format that was perfect for him by the end of the season. And, being able to, especially for players who, not everyone's going to go for 20, 30K, right? If you're a player who's going for 5K, 6K, something like that, and you're going to try to get playing time, that could be a good way to help a team out where you do pick up another format or learn something else in the meantime. So I think it's a good move just to pay attention to everything if you can, especially if you're trying to get burn.
Yeah, for sure, exactly.
So yeah, I think going into everything, while we're finished now, we finished up pretty much what's going to happen week to week, what's going to happen during the auction, during the draft, and everything. Do you have any other comments for the team tour itself, SirKill?
No, nothing else really. I think we've gone through pretty much every aspect of it. There's gonna be other things like mids and all that. Are we gonna discuss that here, or do we want to keep it to here?
I think that's maybe the last thing we need to discuss, right? Because the playoffs doesn't change much from the regular season outside of it being top 4 teams. So the mids, that's another good topic to go finish off on.
Okay, I'll start with mid. So basically, in team tours, we don't have week to week mon transactions, right? Because it would be a bit too broken, right? So, and essentially, you need to submit matchups, you need to, discuss players and all that stuff. So it's a big logistical nightmare. So what we do is, after 3 weeks, we essentially have an off week, which we call the mid-season. And in the mid-season, what you can do is you can make transactions on your Pokemon teams, So every format we have given a certain amount of transactions. I believe it was 12 for all the formats except fusions, which have 18, and they're collective, right? So it's not like 12 per draft. It's like 12 overall in your 3 pal decks, right? So you can use, like, let's say 8 on your pal decks team 1, 2 on your pal decks team 2, etc. However you want to
It
use
was
up the
9. I think
transaction.
it was 9 for the generic formats. Little Cup,
Was it?
Rad, Nat. I think it's 9 because normally we did 6, and I think it's 3 and 3.
Oh,
Because I
okay,
think,
okay, yeah. Okay,
and
okay,
then
yeah, that's
fusions we always had 18 because you draft the second mon technically. So
yeah,
fusion became 18 from 12 because we did 6 and 6. So now we just
yeah.
made it 666.
Yeah, so essentially that's how the Mons will go. And then the mid season is there for, like, picking up any players, right? So what sometimes can happen is, let's say some players, some emergency comes up, or just some players are like, they just go missing in action, like after the draft or something. So what teams can do, or some teams want to trade players, right?
Uh-huh.
This is the time for you to pick up the players, right? And we essentially will have like a mini auction, sort of. And this mini auction will be, basically what we're going to do is, you nominate a player, and then if no one picks up, not if no one upbids you on that player within those 24 hours, essentially that player comes into your team. So that's how the picking up players for the mid-season will work. And yeah, I think I've covered everything. I don't know if anything is left in that regard.
No,
Um,
everything is pretty much concluded, barring Frank
yeah.
having some.
I'm not too sure. Did you mention that the player pool is just going to be players that signed up at the beginning of the tour? Like, there's not going to be
Oh, yeah,
anyone.
that's the other,
Yes,
I
yes,
guess,
yes, yes.
important part. The only players who are eligible for mids are only players who did sign up from the beginning. So if you applied already, great. You know, if you're someone who's thinking, "Oh, I wanna play after you see how things go in the middle of the season, let me sign up now," you won't be eligible. And even the players who do sign up, they have to confirm that they're able to be picked up at mid. So if a player signs up now, they'll be notified if they are available to be signed. And I think we give them like 24 hours or something to confirm it. I forgot if it's 24, 48 hours, something across those lines. And then for that week, that's when teams can pick up that player. And, hopefully players who have put in a good effort into trying to get signed get picked up. And, you know, there's times mid-season pickups make pay off huge dividends for teams. They'll
Yep.
they'll do some impressive things on the team when they play. So
Yeah.
And it also goes to, like, if you're a player that may not get picked up in the beginning of the season, it's still very important to, like, pay attention to the teams and what they need, or anyways, like, even help out like a random team that you like, because
Yeah.
that can help
Yep. Yep.
you get picked up in mids.
Yep. Yep. Precisely. Yeah. Uh, so if you aren't picked up, it's okay. You can join a team. Just join a team server, right? And help a team out. Actually try to experience the environment yourself, right? Yeah. Unfortunately, you won't be able to play the games, but you can help mock. You can, if you're not very experienced, you can experience fighting actually really good players, right? That's how a lot of the way that's how I've improved, basically. When I joined the team tours, I was facing like some of the best players in draft format just because I was mocking them, right? So yeah, very important that if you're not picked up initially, just join the team and help them out. And who knows, you might actually be picked up in mids.
Yeah, and SirKill has a lot of experience with that because in season one of the team tour, his team Breaking Gems won using that strategy, just picking up players to help mock, and it was very successful. They obviously won with Quinn also being
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
So
yeah. It was actually the mid-season person who we picked who actually ended up being really crucial for us to actually win that season. So yeah.
yeah, it's super clutch, super good. If you don't get picked up, keep your head up. Try to help. See if you can help a team out, and you never know. Maybe you get picked up in mid-season. You win a couple crucial games for the season for your team. whoever does pick you up, give yourself the best chance possible. Well, I have nothing else to say otherwise on the team tour.
I'm good. Yeah, I think we've pretty much talked about everything.
Yeah, I think that should be it. And I don't think there's anything that's missing.
Thank you, everyone, for listening in. Best of luck to everyone to try to get picked up, and best of luck to all the coaches and teams this season. Bye, y'all.
Good luck, everyone.